York State has some of the strictest gun laws in the country. So how is this, what most people would call an assault weapon, legal in New York State and registered through the New York State Police? Today I'm going to explain the 50-year-old exemption, how it works, and how this beautiful Colt SP1 rifle is legal and registered in the state of New York. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. It's your host, Nicholas Renner, coming to you with a video about New York State gun laws again. If you're new here, I cover firearms topics, New York State gun laws, politics, much more. Before we go over how this Colt SP1 is legal in the state of New York, registered through the New York State Police, get over what is a assault weapon in the state of New York. New York State classifies assault weapons as any semi-automatic rifle capable of accepting a detachable magazine that has one or more of the bad features. The features include bayonet lug, a threaded barrel, any threaded barrel with any type of muzzle device, flash hider, compensator, etc., grenade launcher attachment, a suspiciously protruding pistol grip, a collapsing or telescopic stock, and or any type of foregrip, grip that can be held with the non-firing hand. Similar how the ATF classifies a foregrip, how it is not allowed on a AR pistol. So with the SAFE Act passed in 2013, they banned sale and the possession of those firearms. So you had to register those or make them compliant. But there was such exemption put into the New York State law, Penal Code 265, as well as Penal Code 400. This is not just put into one penal code. And this is also in the New York State Resources for Gun Owners, where any firearm that is over 50 years old, that classifies federally as a curio relic, 50 years old or older, may be registered if it is an assault weapon. So this counts as Colt SP1s, which many of them were made pre-1970, 1970 or under. Norincos, like the 1950 Norincos, because they have the folding bayonet and can take a detachable magazine. You know, if you can get an AK from back then. So pretty much any firearm that would fall under the assault weapons category that is over 50 years old. This firearm was registered duly through the state police. They have a form on the state police site, I'll list it right here, where you can register these firearms. And if you call the SAFE Act hotline at 1-800-LAW-GUNS, they will walk you through the process. That's what they did for me. A stipulation with this, because many people are like, oh, can I get a 50-year-old lower, then modify it with all the new upper because the lower is considered a firearm? Well, they tell me you can't do that. With the federal law, it doesn't say it in the state law, but in the federal law, it says you cannot, with any firearm that falls into that category, you cannot modify it from its original configuration. So how does that work with, can I take the sling off, or what if the barrel gets shot out and I had to get the barrel replaced? I don't know. You're gonna have to call them if you're wondering those nuanced questions. And this is where people get things wrong. This is not a loophole to buy whatever you want and get it registered. No, your gun store, your FFL is gonna have to verify the serial number of this firearm to make sure it is over 50 years old and legally falls under this exemption. And one of the things that I noticed is the closer to New York City you get, like Suffolk County and these downstate counties, the more liberal they're going to be, and they're probably not gonna let you do this. So you might have to drive all the way up to an upstate county where they're more conservative, they're more firearm friendly. And not saying anything bad about the downstate counties, but some of these downstate counties won't even let you put a fixed magazine AR pistol on your pistol permit. And they might take months to amend a permit, while upstate, the actual upstate, takes 5 minutes to put a pistol on your pistol permit.
2 hours later.
That goes to show some of the differences here. Just like in New York City, they won't even let you have a pistol that is tan colored. They ban all AR style platforms, even if they are legal under the SAFE Act. Some of these gun stores, they're gonna be like, no. If you go to a lot of these upstate firearm dealers, they'll look it up, they'll call the SAFE Act hotline. Like gun stores that I go through, they might have you sign a form saying, you know you have to register this firearm within 30 days. So let's get into the nuance of the law. So say you found a Norinco, 1950s Norinco, everything's good. Your FFL knows about this law, it gets shipped to your FFL. You pass the background check. Well, you have 30 days per the New York State Penal Law to register this firearm. Quick interruption to clarify. So when I first did this, I thought I only had 72 hours. I was told I had 30 days, and I read into the penal law that it says if you have it transferred to your FFL from out of state, you have 30 days. If you're transferring it to somebody else and removing it from out of state, etc., then you have 72 hours. I did this all the same day just to be safe. So the sergeant, the state trooper that I talked to on the phone, he walked through the process, made sure everything was good and approved it and sent me a physical copy in the mail, laminated it. And I always keep that with me whenever I go shoot this firearm. So if you do not register this firearm within that allotted time frame, to my knowledge, they can come and confiscate this firearm and you'll be charged with a crime. So what you're gonna wanna do is go onto the New York State Police site. They have the form listed right there. Fill that out, call up the New York State hotline upon normal business hours, and they will walk you through the process. You're gonna need your your semi-automatic endorsement as well as your pistol permit to even get one of these, because obviously it's going to have to be a semi-automatic firearm. So you're going to have those permits to even do this legally. Then you're going to have to register it, and you will have to recertify every 5 years. What it looks like once you're approved, I'll put a paper up right here. I'll blur out my personal information, but I'll put it up right on the screen right here. So this is a beautiful rifle. Colt started making the civilian version of the M16 back in the 1960s. So this is not some type of clone. Clones do not count. So do not think you can get a clone and get away with this. This actually has to be an actual Colt SP1 made in Hartford, Connecticut, USA. This has the triangle plastic grips, the original carry handle, and something you notice on here is there's no forward assist, because Eugene Stoner didn't want that forward assist, but the US military wanted it on there. This comes with a standard bird cage, flash, hider, and just a basic sling that you can carry on your back. Nothing modern like you get nowadays. Comes with a nice little compartment. You know, it's so old that it's not gonna pop right open. Oh, here we go. So you got your cleaning supplies in there. And a lot of people, they hate on these optic riser mounts, but when you think about it, back in the old days when they had the carry handles, as soon as I raise the rifle up, the scope is right to my level. I actually like that. So I'm thinking about getting one of those GBRS Hydra mounts for one of my featureless rifles. And don't think you're gonna get one of these pretty easily, especially the Colt SP1s. You'll be able to find a Norinco for like $5 or SKS, but you know, if you want something like actually that looks like this, like an actual AR or AK or something like one of those platforms, you're gonna be spending $dollars. That cost me over Luckily, I put it on layaway, so I just paid a couple a month. It was a firearm shop down in Florida. After I paid it off, they shipped it up to my gun store. Bada bing, bada boom. That's what it is. One of the things with these old Colt SP1s is they're only 223, so make sure if you get one of these, you only shoot 223 out of them, because a 223 barrel is not gonna have a lot of fun shooting a 5.56. You can shoot 223 out of a 5.56 barrel, but not vice versa. They do not recommend that because of the higher pressures of the 5.56. But the good thing about this is every year, more and more firearms are becoming over that 50-year period. So I don't know how long this clause in the SAFE Act will remain, but this is not a loophole. This is an actual clause that they added in the penal code. Let's get to shooting. All right, let's run a 2-2 drill. One of the chest, one of the head, reload, one of the chest, one of the head. We'll do to the X zone, and then we'll count the 7 zone as the head. And another thing that you were wondering, this is a pin 10-round magazine, so it stops right here. We're gonna do a 1-1 drill, a Zimbabwe, but with a reload. So it's gonna be one of the chest, reload, one of the head. And we're gonna do this from, I'd say like 7 yards, no, like 5 yards. Classic charging handle and bolt release. So we can get it at some speed this time. Ready? Coming off of safety, beep. But I keep missing the bolt release, and I keep putting my magazine in backwards. So let's see if we can run it a little bit quicker this time. So we're gonna do a 3-3 as quick as we can go. So I'll show you right here. And you know what's so crazy is how smooth that sounds. That buffer tube in there. Like, this thing has better quality, better tolerances than some of the newer like $1,000 ARs and under that I've tried. Let's do one more 1-1 drill, and we'll add in a couple pistol drills, and then we'll wrap it up. Beep. Let me try to, I'll satisfy you guys with a little bit more shooting. We'll do some handgun drills. Beep. Beep. I don't know what it is with the lockback on this thing. Double Zimbabwe drill. 2 to the head, 1 to the chest, 1 to the head. Beep. Well, that is going to wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't already, hit the like, hit the follow, hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment what you think if you have an antique assault weapon. I know a lot of people got the Norinco SKSs and everything like that, because these are getting a little bit pricey. I've seen them up for $5. But thank God I was able to find one that is over 50 years old that was under that amount and that I could put it on layaway. a week for however many months, and I could do that with 0% interest and get one of these firearms. Because if it's not 50 years old, you can't register it in New York, which is the dumbest thing ever. If it's 50 years old, you can have it, but if it's 49 years old, it's a no-no. But with the Supreme Court and the Bruin decision, hopefully we can get this ban stricken down, because there's so many things that make absolutely no sense. Because a Mini 14 shooting the same round, same caliber, same rate of fire as a banned AR is completely protected under the Second Amendment, according to them, if you have a semi-auto endorsement permit. But if it's got some of those bad plastic features on it, it's assault. Well, the Second Amendment was meant to have weapons of war, buddy. We just got to be law-abiding citizens in this godforsaken state, because there's good men and women that live here, and there's free men. And those men that died in the Battle of Saratoga, they didn't flee. They stayed. They battled it out. But we're gonna have to battle it out in the voting booth and do everything we can to vote the right people in. Even if these cities and these communists overpower us every single damn time, we got to get the word out there for you guys, because the good men and women who died for it. You're gonna fight for it, Rick. You're gonna fight for it. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I love you all. Tell me what you thought. Stay tuned for next week's video. See you on the next one. Peace.